Hello, Natalie. I'm waiting for my students. Estoy esperando a mis alumnos. Hello, Miguel. How are you? Welcome to the class. We're going to wait for 5 minutes to start the class. How are you? Tell me something about you. Are you preparing your B2 exam this year? Maybe next year? We will see if we can do the exams this year. Well, I'm going to start this class. Hello, Margari Ortiz. How are you? You are on time. So we're going to start the class because today we're going to talk about a B2 exam by Cambridge. Remember that last week we were talking about the writing test, and today we're going to talk about the listening parts of your Cambridge exam, B2 exam, okay? So I'm going to say that, hello, my name is Cristina. I'm an English teacher in Aula Abierta, and today we're going to talk about B2 exam. Hello, Dulces Inspiraciones, how are you? Let's go, you're on time. Well, what do you think about the listening? Do you think it's a difficult part of your test? If you don't know, there are 4 parts in your listening: part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. And the listening is about 40 minutes, okay? So you are going to, well, you will hear the recording twice in each part of this listening, okay? So I have some references here, so I'm going to read some of them. But first, we're going to talk about part number 1. In part number 1, you will hear 8 conversations, okay? So look at this. I'm going to show you one example about your part, well, about part 1. Look at this, something like this, okay? So you will hear each recordings because there are 8 conversations, okay? There is 1 question for each recording and 3 answers to choose from. So you need to choose from A, B, or C. You need to listen and answer the question. And you will hear the recording twice. So for example, I'm going to read one example of your part number 1. So you will hear a young woman talking about her career. Why did she accept a job in a bookshop? So there are 3 options, and you should listen carefully, okay? Hello, Estivaliz. Welcome to the class. You are on time. We were talking about part number 1 of your B2 exam. I don't know if you're preparing your exam for this year or maybe next year. And remember, in part number 1, you have 8 conversations and you need to choose between the 3 options you have, A, B, or C. Okay? Now, my exam tip that I'm going to tell you is look at the questions carefully, okay? As you listen, you need to look also the answers. Hello, Yolanda. How are you? Welcome to the class. You need to choose the correct option and check your answer when you listen for the second time, okay, the recording. Now that's part number 1 and my tip. So let's go, we continue with part number 2, and I'm going to show you one example about part number 2. I think it's the most difficult one. Look at this, guys. Okay, this is one example of part 2. So you will hear a monologue which lasts for about 3 minutes. There are 10 sentences, as you can see, 10 sentences, which you need to complete with information that you can listen in the recording. And remember that you are going to listen twice, okay? Each part twice. So now I have here some references because my exam tips are: read the sentences before the recording starts, okay? Think about the kind of word you need, but don't write anything, okay? Just wait. As you listen, you need to complete the sentences. Maybe you can complete with 1, 2, or 3 words. Could be a number, could be a date. That's part 2. And remember one thing that is very, very important: your spelling. If it's singular or plural, remember how you can write the words perfectly, okay? That's the most important thing for this part number 2, the spelling. Now, if you go to listening part number 3, you will hear 5 speakers, 5 people talking about a topic. I'm going to show you the topics. Well, not the topics. Where is it? Yeah. Something like this. That's part number 3. Okay, so you will hear 5 people talking about a topic. In this case is different people talking about concerts they went to, okay? There are 6 options and you need to match to a speaker. So you have speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, and speaker 4, and speaker 5. The first time you are going to listen this part, you need to understand the main idea, okay? Hello everybody. Hi Noelia. Welcome to class. We're talking about our B2 exam. Hi Vicente. And we are in part number 3. As I told you before, you are going to hear 5 people, 5 speakers talking about a topic. For example, in this case, I show you about concerts they went. And you have to match the options with the speaker. It's important that you listen the main idea from each speaker, okay? And remember, you are going to hear the recording twice. My exam tip, well, look at the options carefully, guys, and choose the option that is correct. There is not another tip that I can tell you, okay? That's a tip. And then we go to listening part number 4. You're going to, well, you will hear an interview, okay? I'm going to show you one example of the interview. Where is it? Here. This is one example, okay? So there are 7 questions you should answer. The questions follow the order of the text. Most questions will be about people, ideas, opinions, feelings, okay? For example, we have this example. You will hear an interview with Pamela Green as young fashion designer. For each questions, choose the best answer, A, B, or C again. So you have the questions, for example, what helped Pamela to decide to become a fashion designer? And you have 3 options. So you should listen carefully, okay? Now, My tips that I have here on my computer: read the questions before the recording starts. It's important to remember what are going to listen. Okay? Underline the keywords, it's very important, and it's going to help you a lot, the keywords, I'm sure. What do you think about this part of the listening? Do you think it's very easy, difficult? Well, I'm going to talk about my experience, okay? Because as I told you yesterday, I think the listening is the worst part in the exam. Maybe because I don't like listenings. Also for B1, B2, C1, C2, doesn't matter. I don't like listening, so don't forget to answer the questions. Even if you think the answer is wrong. Why? Because you can't try not to leave the gaps without an answer, because if it's correct, imagine you are going to gain marks. But if it's not correct, okay, doesn't matter, you try to do your best. It's okay, it's an exam, it's only one exam, don't be nervous. Things that I told my students this year is that they should be focused on English. If you are thinking about other things, I'm sure you are going to fail your exam, and I want that you pass your exam, so be focused on English. It's important. How can you improve your listenings? Well, there are 3 or 4 ways. I'm going to give you some tips, because, for example, you can watch TV in English. You also can watch series in Netflix. I think is the best way. Listen English music. Well, I think the best way to improve your English is when you speak with other people from other countries. For example, my experience, I took this exam in Dublin, as I told you last days. I used to live in Dublin. I was there like 1 year and a half, and I had a lot of friends from a lot of different countries. We spoke in English together, and it was a good way to improve our English, to improve our speaking, improve our listening. I think it's important to improve in that way. More things. Well, maybe you don't have a lot of friends around the world, but I think from YouTube or another programs you can improve your English and your listening skills, also your speaking skills. And that's all. I think is the faster way to improve your English. I'm sure you are going to do your best in the real exam. Now it's time to say goodbye to you. Thanks for watching me. I'm very happy to stay here. As I told you, every time we have more activities in Cultural Actes, also in Aula Abierta, from Monday to Friday. You can follow us on Instagram and mention Aula Abierta and Cultural Actes. So I'm here to answer your questions if you have, or if you want to ask me, well, whatever you want. Check our videos online and enjoy learning another language. I think English is important in our future. English is very, very, very important to make new relationships with other people from other countries, and yeah, it's a good way to improve another skills. So thanks so much for watching me, and see you next Wednesday with reading or use of English. Okay, we will see. So see you. Enjoy your afternoon. Bye bye.